Yeah, so BJ from Morgan Gumbo here, Gumbo Live, episode number 64. It's the number one Facebook Live talk show dedicated to board gaming. Our special guest tonight is Jonny Pac, the designer of the upcoming Coloma game. So, Jonny, give everybody who hasn't met you yet an elevator pitch. Who is Jonny Pac?
All right. So I'm I live way out in the sticks, in the middle of nowhere, obviously, and I've been trying to kind of break into the board game industry through whatever means I can. So basically, I ran into some people in 2012. I've been a long time board gamer. My family likes that, into Euro games. About 2012, I ran into some people that were actually industry people, and they were kind of telling me the back end a little bit, and it was fascinating to see stuff going on it. And I took a stab at my first game, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And got lucky enough to get picked up for a publishing contract at that time, and wasn't really happy with the outcome of that one. So then took a second swing at it with a Kickstarter of my own, which was the game Hangtown. So I kind of did the whole thing with my brother, including the back end, the front end, the fulfillment. It was a small, what they call like vanity run of 1,200 copies of the game we had made, and that took up a year and a half, 2 years of my life to assemble that, test it, make it, get it out to backers. And once that dust kind of cleared, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be a publisher. I'd like to just do freelance design work. And so I started putting a portfolio together of my newer ideas and all that, and started hitting like the protospiel circuits. So anything within driving distance, I would go and spend the weekend and just workshop stuff with other designers. And from there, I've just bumped shoulders with lots of cool people and made connections, and eventually even made connections over to European publishers, which is awesome because I love Euro games. So I'm really happy to be working with Final Frontier and Board and Dice right now.
Board and Dice, yeah. They just merged with NSKN, if I remember right. So
yeah,
you got exactly. A lot of publishing power there. I can't believe that this is an emergency setup. It looks like you're like a beautiful, normal studio, right?
I know. Yeah, my friends have a nice house, so it's lucky. Well, and this is one of our friends did all this artwork in the background too.
Well, tell them thank you. Hey, Jonny, it's what you and I were talking before the show, and I was amazed at one of the coincidences. I think I found a picture of you. Is this you?
That's me. Yeah, I'm at Lake Tahoe playing in front of a casino. That's in about 2011, maybe. Oh my gosh.
Chat crew, you can actually chase down this video. There's a video of him doing some cool jazz improvisation. And the chat crew will confirm, for whatever reason, a lot of our guests are former or current musicians. Jonny and myself, I played professionally way back in the 1990s with a country band. Do you have any explanation? What is the attraction between musicians and board games? Any idea?
Well, I was actually really fascinated to talk to you about that because out here in California, a lot of the people I run into are like tech industry people, Silicon Valley and stuff. So, I meet board game designers, and they tend to be all kind of, more into the computer side of things, and they're branching into the analog. And I met, I believe it was Aaron Vanderbeek, the designer of Castelli, that did, I think he's like a pipe organist or something like that, and specializes in Chopin.
Is he really?
Yeah, I think that's what he's telling me. And then John Shoulders from here from the Foxtrot and Black Straw team, he's a multi-instrumentalist, and we've played in bands together. But outside of that, I don't really run into that many crossover musician game designers. So I was even curious to ask what you played.
Yeah, so I was a piano player back in the day. And fooled around a little bit with the drums and guitar, but I'm terrible at them. But, Sean Jones, and the reason I was bringing it up, Sean Jones right here checking in with us. Musicians are cool. Board games are cool. Enough said. Yeah, Sean, that's it. Sean, if you haven't, Google the Rush. Oh, now I'm going to forget, Sean. It's the Rush Tribute Project. He'll remind us the name. Sean's the bassist and lead singer for a amazing Rush tribute group. I'm talking. You got to Google these guys and watch their videos to see if you like any kind of power pop or Rush or any of that kind of music. You're gonna really enjoy Sean Jones playing. He is fantastic. Sean and I have talked. He and I have demoed together at a couple different conventions, and we always talk about. We can't figure out why we run into and it's not the only ones. I mean, I've probably had on the show at least 5 musicians.
Oh, that's cool.
And then run into them everywhere else. Yeah, I tell you who it was, but you would have no idea. It was a southern country rock band called the James Younger Band way back in the 1990s. So very, very small. We never made it. We made it to Nashville, but not very far. So it was nothing. Sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I've actually when I get on a lot of the like board game Facebook groups where people are just discussing, how they approach different problems, I always find myself coming back to musical metaphors and stuff like that. And I feel like, um, my background is kind of in jazz and stuff, so I have a good grasp on music theory and such. And there's kind of like the idea of playing things by, you got the musicians who play by ear, which is a lot of rock musicians, jazz
Sure.
musicians and stuff. And then you've got your more like the rote classical musicians who can sight read really well. And I'm kind of more of that play by ear school. But as you probably know, there's a lot of things that can help you play by ear besides just playing by ear. It's not what people always think. It's like there's tools and patterns you recognize. And hey, there's another one. Cool.
Yep.
And
Steve O'Rourke was a pianist. Look at this.
Hey, here we go. Raise your hand. So there's like a lot of these.
Raise your hand if you're not a musician. Maybe that's what we should do, and we'll get a smaller group.
Yeah. And I felt like a lot of those like patterns and things that you learn from music to improvise well also work kind of like the heuristics in learning how to strategize in a board game without having to do analysis process, like the crunching stuff. So you kind of have a sense of educated guessing, and what works to get you through a passage of music might actually work to get you passage of what would otherwise be some kind of hard math in a Euro game, for instance.
I think you got something there, because my play group, the board game Gumbo crew, they'll tell you that I'm not a number cruncher. I am not an AP guy. I play a lot from hunches and pattern recognition that I think I see, which is not always right. A lot of times I get the patterns wrong.
Yeah.
But look, they're all coming out. There's Drake Villarreal saying he played the recorder.
He played recorder.
Drake, that counts. I'll give it to you.
Oh, Drake. Yeah, he's actually a good friend of mine. We do a lot of our developing with each other, so it's funny. I didn't know he played recorder, so news to me.
Ninja checking in saying he was a long ago sax player. I'm telling you, they're coming out of the woodwork.
That's cool. That's great.
So, see, we're not
next convention. We all start form a jam band, in the main area. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's get this is a board game going. Let's talk a little bit about some games. I wanted to tell you about a game I played. I don't know if you had a chance to play it. Right before I was riffing while waiting for you to get on.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about a game that Kane Klinko and Kane Klinko and Gajimic had sent me. Jagimic, I always forget which way it is. I think it's Jagimic. But Jagimic sent me this game, Cosmic Factory. Are you a real-time game fan?
I do like some of those ones. Like I really enjoy Magic Maze a lot, and Kane's other game, Fuse, I think is fantastic. So if it's done right, I think it's a really exhilarating experience for sure.
So Cosmic Factory, basically, you're trying to score as many points as possible. You're a god creating a cosmos, of course, but forget the theme. It's really about putting together patterns of same colored planets in zones. But you only have 1 minute to do it. And you have a draft of 9 tiles. The famous 3x3 grid, right? We've heard that a million times in games. Same thing, same concept here. Everybody gets 9 tiles. We do a pick and pass play draft, just like you would in Sushi Go or Seven Wonders.
Yeah.
You end up with 6 tiles you chose, 3 tiles that somebody else just gives you that you have no idea, and then 1 minute to get as many of those 3 colored zones, blue, orange, and green, onto that 3x3 board. But here's the kick. Here's the kick. Each one of the zones has a different frequency of the planet. So there's a lot more greens, but they're harder to score. A lot fewer oranges, but they give you big points.
Right.
And then there's a little pathways that you make between them that can move you up. It's got 2 twists to it. Number 1, the Reiner Knizia mechanic. You know it from games like Ingenious, where it's the lowest score, right? So you got to move up your star track and those 3 colors, but it's the star track score plus the lowest of one of those 3 colors. So you're always trying to push up that low, that low element. But that second twist are these chaos cards. And this is what is diabolical. Kane's got about, 30 different cards. And during the 5 rounds, each one of them completely break the game. So instead of a 3x3 grid, you're doing 2 2x2 grids and dumping one of the tiles.
Right. Okay.
And some of them are diabolical. Some of them are friendly. Like the green zones are going to score an extra point. Some of them are evil. Like you get to turn to your neighbor after the grid has been done and flip over any one of their tiles where they don't score anything with that. Well, they're trying to make this nice little pattern of a bunch of oranges, and then you flip the tile in the middle of it. So
you flip their linchpin.
What I like about this game is that I've got a love-hate relationship with real-time games. I'm okay like in Steam Park where it's a component of the game, but you
Right.
still have
Yeah.
the softness of I'm going to put together the amusement park.
Right.
Escape the temple, escape Curse of the Temple.
Yeah.
It just drives me crazy because
It's insane.
it's
Oh, it's
frenetic,
pure insanity.
it's insanity, and it's stressful. And my wife
Yeah.
hates it.
Yeah.
So since my wife hates it, we don't play it. So this one I tried out this week, and my wife said, "Hey, you know what? This is one that I do. It's got a little bit of stress, but then I'm scoring at my points, and I'm looking at the pick and play tiles. So I'm telling people out there, if you're really stressed out by real-time games, probably not going to be a game you want to play. Maybe just try it. But if you like a little real-time and you like the tile building, I think Kane has a perfect meld, and the whole game takes 25 minutes.
Oh,
Perfect
cool,
beer and
man.
pretzels night.
Heck yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I try to follow his work because I'm always impressed with his kind of novel take on things like flip ships and stuff is a ton of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
Flip Ships was probably my number 3 game of all time that year, 2017.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah.
game. Hey, there's
Yeah.
Bill Lasik, the designer of Akoi. I don't know if you've heard of Akoi, but he's checking in saying evening all. So hey, Bill, thank you for checking in, man. You've got a game that I am really interested in. I've got a ton of Days of Wonder games here and downstairs. It's probably my favorite style of game, that 1 hour game that you can teach to anybody, has enough meat to be friendly to experienced gamers, but also you can teach new gamers. And you've been playing, let me see if I can find that game real quick. You've been playing a game called The River.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking forward to that one. That was kind of
tell us about The River.
Yeah, so that was one. I saw pictures at Gen Con of the prototype that they were showing there. I couldn't attend Gen Con this year, and I saw just kind of what was going on. And without learning much about the rules, I just saw it kind of fascinating that, okay, there's tiles, there's a river, there's a flow to this thing, literally. And then I knew it was an Essen release, so I was kind of curious how it was going to go. And I didn't hear a lot about it, so it kind of stayed kind of hidden in a lot of ways. And so I basically pre-ordered it right away and waited for it to come in. And like the day it showed up, I brought it actually over here and we busted it out and played a 3-player of it. And it didn't do things I expected it to, just from the look at it. It did different things.
Okay.
But where I think this game is great is, we go back to games like Stone Age is a great introduction to worker placements. And then from there, there's a lot that are kind of more complicated or something else. I think this one has, I would be torn to teach somebody their first worker placement between this and Stone Age now. And this one's less dicey. And I feel like, you get in here and this one just has those sweet elements in the playtime, and the user interface on it is super clear to understand.
Okay.
And the arc of it. So I felt like for what it's doing, I don't know if it totally, turned worker placement on its head, but it took things in a very contemporary sense and still had just that tight experience where everything is cohesive in the game. And I really enjoyed it. So I definitely would say it's for like the gateway filler group, if they were like, what's a good worker placement that's not going to be a brain burner, but still teaches you all those processes. I think this is a great game for that. So
Christian Strain checking in. He says, played The River at BGG Con. It was good, but didn't stand out for me among all the other new games. Christian is biased because he designed Asking for Troubles, which is a fantastic
It is. It's
intro
really good.
worker placement game.
Yeah,
but not everybody's into that space theme. And some people like purple and gold better than blue and orange, Christian. I've told you that.
I love orange, so I have that game for sure. And I think The River, like I said, it didn't innovate in ways I was kind of hoping it. What I really was hoping would happen in the game, from the look at it, is that you put those tiles along the river, and then there'd be something that you would trigger, and it would kind of fire off in the row, starting from the top, and make that S, giving you the resources of those tiles. And to me, what ended up happening is it was kind of like a Kalis-like order that you build the buildings in, or not buildings per se, but the tile structures, whatever they are, the landscapes.
Okay.
And that was kind of more or less the thing. And what you're trying to do is line those up in columns so that same type of terrains will score you points at the end. But it didn't have a lot of this fires off in this direction. And I was hoping to see kind of a flow. And that's probably a little biased because I'm working on my own game, Sierra West, which is about layering cards into each other, and then your workers, you place them, but they actually go in sequence, and in whatever sequence you want to complete their actions in, can work things out. So you might move this guy to get your wood, and then this guy to get some stone, and then this guy to go here, and you do this whole sequencing process. And when I saw this game, I thought, oh, maybe that's going to be kind of a sister game or something where it would also have a sequencing mechanic to it, and it didn't. And that's where I was a little like, oh, bummer, it could have. So that's kind of my overall feel. But I definitely, like I said, I'd break it out for intro to worker placements. But I wouldn't say it's like, 2018 in a nutshell. It's not really. This would have made just as much sense 10 years ago had it come out then.
Bill Lassick says orange everything.
Yeah, you should see my house. If I was at home in my studio, you'd see it's like everything is orange. So,
Berlet says got to try out the river at Shucks and really liked it. That's the Shut Up and Sit Down convention up there in Canada.
Yeah, my friend went with that
in Vancouver. It sees a lot of table time in my house, which is exactly my goal. An intro worker placement Euro that would be good for the family. So
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what you're talking about there.
Yeah,
and that is the river. What caught my eye at the river at Gen Con, and I never got a chance to play it, but every time I passed by, I saw it. It has that typical Days of Wonder production value and artwork, and looks really cool on the table. So
yeah, I know. I
think it's going to be one I'm going to have to try before I buy, but I'm going to check it out. Now, one I wanted to talk about because of your status and that jazz picture I pictured out.
Oh gosh,
have you got a chance to play Big Easy Busking from?
No, I haven't even seen this. Wow, that's really cool looking.
Okay. So Big Easy Busking, really cool game. I'm from Louisiana. Of course, we visit New Orleans all the time. We're used to seeing the buskers over there in Jackson Square. And Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games had contacted me about this game she was working on. It's designed by someone else, not by her, but it's called Big Easy Busking. And the catch is, if you know anything about Carla's company, Weird Giraffes, they're all small box games that play in about 30 minutes, but have tons of meat and depth on them. So she wants little box games that are really more like not even really fillers. They're really meaty fillers or filler pluses, or maybe hot pockets. Maybe we call them hot pocket games.
Nice, yeah.
and I hadn't seen this. I had seen area control games, even in a small box game like a Jiraku, where they combine area control and trick taking. Yeah, you might know that one from TMG. But this one it's area control, and it's a tiny little bit of deck building, because you're purchasing cards that are going to give you the ability to play songs to a crowd. And if you can match those songs with the energy in the crowd, you can get bonus energy, which allows you to buy more songs. And by the time you get to that third round, you should have a repertoire of songs that'll let you put out a lot of people on the different areas. Each one of those 5 areas are going to score points for you. So
that's cool. That's cool.
So Jeremy says he's been playing busking too. But what really caught my eye, and you got to admit, it's this color scheme and the artwork and everything.
Yeah, but it's got that look. It's just got the jazz look to it all through and through.
So for a little while, you were a publisher also. Is that one of the things that you were also in control of when you did your first game? Were you in charge of the art direction and everything too?
Yeah. So basically, if anybody's played Hangtown or seen it, they're going to know that a lot of the cards look about as good as those from one of the versions of Glory to Rome, where it's pretty minimalistic. Okay. And the outstanding parts of it would actually be the fact I got to use historic photos from the Historical Society of the area. So, so in that case, it's one of those things where you get to see, instead of I couldn't really afford actually to commission a bunch of artwork, so it was really kind of a windfall to get all this restored photography and use it throughout it. So it's kind of goes between this kind of sparse, minimalistic stuff. I would hope that it'd look as good as maybe a GMT game, and then had in certain spots some really nice photography. And so art direction is something I'm interested in, because I was a gallery director for a modern art gallery, including this artist here who was in my gallery a long time ago. And so I do like that aspect a lot, and I kind of find it fascinating. And I feel like, someday, doing the freelance work I do, if it wasn't strictly development or design work, I feel like art direction would be something I would really enjoy getting involved in. So, well, that's awesome. And that's one of the things that attracted me to Big Easy Busking was that big, artwork. And that's Big Easy Busking coming out from Carla. And I think it's coming out pretty soon on Kickstarter. But we got a question for you from Sean Jones. Hey. Speaking of Sierra West, targeted for a Gen Con release this year? You got anything you can tell us? That is the idea. Yeah. So Philip has said that on Facebook and things like that. So I'm at liberty to say that that's the plan. Is it's a Gen Con release, and so they're pretty excited about that for sure. So we're kind of getting everything ready right now for making sure that it gets there on time. So we're kind of in the crunch period doing that right now.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo here on another episode of Gumbo Live. I've got Jonny Pac, the designer of is it Coloma?
Yeah, Coloma. Mm-hmm.
Coloma, and I've got a picture of it on the screen right here.
Mm-hmm.
Love the look. I watched your development as it was going through, because you post a lot on social media. You
Sure.
bring in the community in some of the decisions, and the box cover has, if I remember right, has changed pretty significantly over the time, with a different focus at least, right?
I think I've seen a few drafts of this one, but I believe that this version that we're looking at has been the only one that Final Frontier has put out there. So
okay.
The things that we kind of change is, a little bit of the geography. I wanted to make sure it was a little more accurate to the place, because you actually, if you're looking at the box cover here, you can kind of see what is Sutter's Mill off to the side there with the water running under it. And you can still visit that, because they actually reconstructed that mill. And that's the mill where it was owned by John Sutter, and they were milling wood, of course, with it. And one of his people was James Marshall, who was out there working. He looked through the water and was like, "What's that shiny stuff?" And it was, a giant gold nugget. And that's really what kicked off the gold rush in 1848 and started the 1849 gold rush. And basically, California wouldn't be the way it is, and a lot of things wouldn't be the way that were without that discovery at that point. So we wanted to feature that as kind of one of the main things in the game, especially, like I said, knowing that people could, if they wanted to, got the itch, they could go on a vacation and go visit some of the things that are featured on this box cover. So,
well, you got a lot of people excited just with that box art. There's Verla saying it's gorgeous. She wants to learn more. But let's unpack a little bit about the game itself. I've got another picture here. Walk us through. What are we looking at with Coloma? How many people does it play? What are we looking at?
So this one is like I said, the game Hangtown I made was kind of a vanity run, 1,200 copies, one and done. I'm not going to publish it or release the rights to it again, per se. Sure. What this was kind of built off the backbones of some of that. When a European publisher contacted me when Hangtown first came out, asking if they could license it. And it was so text heavy that I felt like, wouldn't it be cool to do the Euro thing where it mainly revolves around icons? And so I started working into it, and it didn't work out. So what I ended up creating was a different game altogether, based around some of the very core mechanics of that one, but otherwise has a very, very different experience in what you're doing. So that's where you're going to see that little center rondelle wheel type thing. It's an action selector, and we'd say that those things are common. What you do with this game is different, and the feel of it's different. But overall, I'd say that there's action selection with this rondelle, and then you are building a tableau of sorts in front of you that allows you to bend the rules of the game, as we all love. So so this one was inspired by driving a long car drive, and all of a sudden the light goes off in your head. That I'm a big fan of like game theory and behavioral economics. So I was thinking of something where it's like, so wouldn't it be cool if you select actions, like say Puerto Rico, Race for the Galaxy, something like that. But if a bunch of people were to select the same one, it is a little bit less good than had you selected it alone. And so that was kind of the core mechanism of this, is what we're using in the Gold Rush terms of boom and bust. So if you're able to go somewhere that isn't groupthink where everybody goes, you're likely to get a slightly better payoff. If you want to think analogous to the when you choose a role in Puerto Rico, you get a little bit of a better version of that. In this sense, you get the better version as long as you don't go where everybody else does. So it's kind of like the bonus is there by default, but you lose the bonus if you group think. And so you're trying to get in the head of each other and think, where do I think somebody's going to go? I think they have enough resources to build. So if I go to build, what if we build at the same time and then we can build less? And so you're trying to think, oh, maybe if I sandbag a little bit and go over here and get more supplies, let them go build. Then if I go build, maybe they won't be there when I build. Now this really scales well once it hits the larger player counts, because a lot of this stuff is done simultaneously. A lot of returns can be you're selecting simultaneously, and then it's resolved in kind of a Race for the Galaxy type of, the phase 1 things, the phase 2 things. Sure. And people can kind of go ahead and resolve their turns without stepping all over each other in a lot of those cases. So it kind of shines at that larger player count, and it also works that people can I'll be selecting, and the choice matrix becomes different at different scales. Like in a 3-player game, we can really start to mind read each other and see the game state for what it is, and be very careful about your placement. Whereas, say, in a 6-player game, it becomes a little more Wild West. You're kind of like, well, but you have more wiggle room because it really takes a majority of people all thinking the same. So breaking away is still about the same, as long as you really just don't get what do I think the entire group wants the most right now. And so you're really kind of playing a head game and reading the game state. And so it's not one of these multiplayer solitaire games, as they call them. But on the back end of it, you are building that tableau and getting your victory points. And this gets you points for this. And, your engine's going to allow you to manipulate resources to help you, turn into victory points and things like that.
Now, a Euro that has a lot of player interaction, that gets me excited. I like those. Sean Jones says, "Hey, you sold me at like Race for the Galaxy."
yeah. So it's what Rahdo called Hangtown kind of the Race for the Galaxy of the Wild West, and I would believe that this game is standing on the shoulders of that and has gone on and beyond that with the talent of the developers on their end and the art direction that they're doing. This game is going to be even better. So I'm really excited about what they've done with it on their end, because working with the designers who are also the owners of the company who designed Rise to Nobility. They designed Robin Hood and all that. So I'm working with really sharp guys as we develop this. It's been a cool experience to see how it shakes out. So I'm excited.
I've got a solo shot of the cards, and this is what you were telling me before. In Hangtown, it was text telling you how the card was going to work.
Yeah.
Tell me about what the developers and yourself was able to do with these cards.
Yeah. So basically, in Hangtown, you would say to go to one of these action sites, and they would activate all your cards, and then it would tell you draw a card from your deck and then do this with it and do all this stuff, and they'd tell you what to do. Here you would go to the place where there's a shovel icon, and then if you go there, you get the little $2 in this case, the poker chip with $2. Now if you go there and you're with a bunch of other people, you don't also get the wheelbarrow action on that card. So if you're allowed to go there by yourself or with fewer people than the group, and you boom per se, you're going to be able to get the shovel action and the wheelbarrow action. So you're going to get a net of their combined of $3, right? So if you go there and it busts, then you're just going to get the $2 off that card. So you'd be looking at, if I had both those cards in my tableau, I'd be getting, and I boomed, I'd get 3 meeples and $3, which would be cool. Now if I busted, I'd only get the top bonus, which is the 2 meeples and $2. So it's just a little bit less, but in a Euro game, that little bit less might be the linchpin between making your next epic move. And so that's kind of the gist of it. So but
it's not a zero sum. At Stone Age, one of the things that frustrates new players in Stone Age, you could get 0 if you don't roll the dice right.
Yeah. There's nothing like that, and I know that there's fear with some simultaneous action selection games. Like I want to say Pirates Cove. It's like if you go where somebody else goes, like you are hosed, and so is the person who also went there. And you duke it out until you have nothing, and your ships are sinking and the smoke's flying, and then somebody else goes to an island by themselves and gets all the treasure. It's kind of what it's angry making. And so this game doesn't have that. It's gentle enough in the Care Bear sense that, if you go somewhere and you bust, what your floor is. You can go there and be like, if I boom, this is awesome, but I can get away with the floor on this thing. And, it's just upward potential. And then in certain cases, you might still go somewhere and go, oh, there's a linchpin. I need to boom in order to do the next big epic move. But that's a decision you'll know you're going in for at the game. You won't have big surprises that'll break your heart.
Well, the Name Father says this action selection space ain't big enough for both of us. And that's kind of the motto of the game,
right?
Put
that on the back of the box,
Listen, Steve's got 1 million of them. You can definitely put it on the back of the box.
I love it.
So Verla says the iconography looks pretty intuitive. Always appreciate it, and that's what you were going for, right? Intuitive iconography.
Yeah, we are spending so much time on that kind of thing because I love Race for the Galaxy and I can read it fluently, as well as New Frontiers and Jump Drive and all that.
Right.
But I also fear that if every game did that right now, it would be like learning a new language for every single game out there. And I feel like I would like people to be able to understand icons, but not have to, actually learn to read them in a very difficult way. So this is very much matching stuff. Like if I go to shovels, I get shovel things, and what that is will be right there in front of you.
And so those standees that we're seeing in the solo picture right now, that's the different player characters or their
Yeah,
workers.
yeah. So that's your main pioneers. So in this case, if I were the little frontiersman there, that's like the yellow guy. He's that would be representing my decision more or less. So I'd be
Okay.
selecting on the dial where I want to go, and I would select a number which corresponds to that site. And
Okay.
then once we all reveal and turn those face up, the red player would go over there and the yellow here, and we'd all look at that. And in this instance, we'd look over and see which place has the most pioneers on it, and we'd see that the blue and the green pioneer have the most. And so the red pioneer would get, their status, the yellow as well. And then where the green and blue one, there's a little swivel piece that would cover up the inner bonus part, which in this case would cover up what they couldn't do, and they'd only be allowed to do the things that's in the remaining part that you can see visually. And so then we'd take our turns clockwise around that, resolving all of our actions. Then we remove those pioneers, reselect with the dial, kind of rinse and repeat from there.
And that is Coloma. Out on Kickstarter coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, so February 20th. So again, we're really pushing to meet those deadlines and get all of our ducks in a row for that side, and then we'll be doing a little more, polishing up on the back end between that and when it goes to the printer.
Any surprises you have for what's going to happen with the Kickstarter campaign? Any secrets you could tell us?
All I know is Final Frontier makes beautiful, beautiful deluxe products, and you can expect that from the game because it's just what they do. And so I never want to take that for granted from them, but they're just incredible with their stuff. So if you've played Robin Hood or Rise of Nobility and you just unbox that and lay down on the table, it's just like, oh my goodness, these guys thought of making everything beautiful to touch, to look at, and it's just everywhere. So, and they're kind of doing that same treatment throughout this, and they'll kind of wait, and then they'll be like, you ready? And then they'll show me something, and it's just like this, it's just beautiful. And you're like, oh my goodness, like you should see my, scribbled Sharpie prototype or, bad computer graphics.
You must be really excited to be working with a quality company like that.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're great guys. They're funny too. So it's like we're always, I'm up all night working with them because it's daytime there, and I start my meetings with them usually around midnight or 1 a.m. and they go till sometimes sun up, and we just have a good time. We're all kind of on the same wavelength and fixing problems as fast as we notice them, and it's been a
Where
great
are they located?
process. They're in Macedonia, actually. Yeah, that's their spot. But they've definitely done a great job of having a international presence, because I didn't know where they were until I started really looking into them, and I'd heard of their entire catalog before then. So
Steve says it's all about the behavioral economics.
Yeah, love that.
Once you have something, you hate giving it up, the endowment effect.
Exactly.
And human beings are loss averse. Even though we've got something in it, we don't want to give it up, even if it may get worse down the road, right?
Yep. Yeah, so he's exactly right. Yeah, what he's saying in that post is exactly, I'm always very, very aware of loss aversion and how to kind of, remedy that, because if you
use it to your advantage as a designer.
Yeah. So it's all in there, and so those are some of my favorite topics. I totally geek out on that stuff and reading about it all the time, and trying to bring it into this and look at the psychology of players as they're playing, and seeing how they emotionally react to doing all these things. And if something seems punishing, even though I say, well, technically it's not, because this is the equivalent of this, I don't have a right to say technically it's not, because they're entitled to their feelings and they're going to play from those feeling standpoints. And so I want to do what they call in behavioral economics, basically nudge people into doing things that they actually want to do themselves, but still give them the freedom to diverge and make their own choices. And the game will not play itself without you in the cockpit. So.
Bill Lassick says those surprise production reveal moments are always awesome, and he knows that, working his way through with Koi. All right, cool. So that's Coloma coming out on Kickstarter on February 20th, right?
Yeah.
And Drake says it's quick too. The last couple of times he played, it clocked under an hour. So we got a power hour game.
We do. That's my
1 hour wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. You always use the term 1 hour wonder, and I use it all the time too. And there's a lot of games that play in under an hour, but the problem is they're not wonders. And then there's a lot of games that play that are a wonder, and they're a lot more than an hour. And if it's a learning game or you're playing with some slower groups or a large group, they can stretch out very long. And so that's kind of, I feel like the holy grail right now is to make the 1 hour wonder game. If you can get that deep experience and all that, and it didn't eat up your entire night to do it, and you didn't have to forego another game you also wanted to play to do it, that's a really good thing. And then to always know the other side is like, the game's under an hour, but was it underwhelming? Then it still needs some work at that point.
That's the sweet spot. And in all fairness, I didn't come up with a term. That's Chris Kirkman from Dice Hate Me Games. He loves that 1 hour wonder, but I love it. I think it's perfect. I'm the kind of guy, I don't mind playing a 2.5 hour game, but I would rather play 3 or 4 1 hour games if they're meaty. Like you said, I don't want a game that gives me a 10 or 15 minutes experience that just stretches out into 1 hour. I found that Villainous is dangerously close to being a little too long for what it's worth, Maybe I need to play it at a smaller play count, but I played it at 4 and I've had people play it. I played it at 4 or 5, and everybody that plays it in that range, it lasts a little too long. So I want that sweet spot that you said, a 1 hour game that feels satisfying at the end of the 1 hour.
Right. That's the holy grail. So basically everything I'm working on right now, it's like that is the goal. I mean, it could be a 2 hour game easily. Hangtown was definitely an hour and a half, 2 hour game, and it went on 6 rounds. This one's 3 rounds. I mean, it's pretty swift. You have 15 turns to complete your whole agenda, so it moves.
Jonny Pac, this is a board game show. And you've watched the show before, so hopefully you remember how the Jambalaya game. But just in case, I'm gonna go over it with you real quick. So in the Jambalaya game, I give Steve O'Rourke a task, and the Name Father, his job is to come up with board games and words that mash up together into something cool. For instance, I'll give you an example. One that we did, along with Lucille, this famous blues guitarist is currently protecting the city against Cyber Bunny and the Kraken. So what mashup, what jambalaya are we talking about there? We're talking about so the clues there: blues guitarist Lucille, right?
Right.
Any idea who I'm talking about?
I know Lucille's BB King's guitar, and I would try to think of another famously named guitar to be paired up with that, and I'm not sure it's coming.
BB King, right?
Yeah.
And what game are we talking about? Where you're protecting the city against Cyber Bunny and the Kraken.
Cyber Bunny and Kraken. I don't know. Is it a Euro game?
No, it's a game by Richard Garfield called King of Tokyo. You mash those two together, and you get BB King of Tokyo. So that's how the game is played.
Yeah.
Now remember, Johnny, don't sweat. You're playing with the crew. The crew is going to be trying to guess these two, so it's no big deal. But we got a few of them.
Yep.
Do you feel like you understand the Jambalaya game?
Yeah, I understand. I'm going to be terrible at this, but throw them at me. So,
all right, Johnny, are you ready to play?
They're going to win tonight.
That's right. We'll see how well the chat crew does. Christian Strain, by the way, is a tough cookie, man. So we'll see how he does.
Oh, look, he's quick. He beats me to the same one sometimes.
Jeff was on it. Now remember, they're on a little delay, so you'll see their answers coming in a little bit late. Steve is the arbiter on these. Now, I will tell you that Steve was working on a different guest jambalaya, and I was in an airport waiting on a flight for North Carolina, and I actually did these. So the chat crew is going to hate these because they always hate when I do the clues. But I'm going to throw them out there. And, I made it a little bit easier for you because most of these games are games you have listed as your top games.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So
there's a big hint there.
I hope I know what games I like.
Hopefully you do. And Bill says, we've got your back. Don't worry.
All right. You better.
All right. The first one. Are you ready?
Yep.
This out-of-print game from Stronghold Games is about advancing the state of automotive production. It comes with an amazing soundtrack. Listen to some of the songs. It's by the guys who brought you Keep On Loving You and Take It On the Run.
Yeah, REO Craftwagon.
REO Craftwagon right out the box. Nicely done, Johnny. See, you were all worried, man.
Yeah,
that was excellent. So, Steve, mark that one down for Johnny. That's right. Jeff got the first one. So that was an easy one, right?
Yeah. You're helping me out. I appreciate it.
Steve says BB King of Tokyo may have been the only one that he did. I think that is right. I think I got all the rest of them. All right, here we go. You ready? Now remember, they're mashups, so some of them are kind of punny. All right, they're not exactly perfect little mashups, but here's one for you. Move your shrimp, gather your bravest crawfish, and use the rondelle to attack the battlefields with orders that come straight from the Pope in this new TMG game from Seth Jaffe.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm trying to think of Crusaders and shrimps and otters.
Oh, Chad Crew, here's your chance to steal.
Crust otters? I don't know. Like crustacean otters, I'm not sure.
It might not be a mashup. Might be a little bit of a pun. Diabolical there.
Yep, it's going to have Crusaders in it, and I'm not sure if the tagline "That Will Be Done" will fit into that too.
Chat Crew, he's leaving it for you. Oh, there it is. Sean Jones gets it. Crustaceans, thy will be done.
There it is. Yep, I was thinking crust otters. I was like, yep.
Christian had a good one. Crust otters. I like that one.
Crust otters, yeah. That's a great game, by the way. I really enjoyed it. It was, again, one of those 1 hour wonders. Played it back to back as soon as we unboxed it and loved it.
I played it at Dice Tower Con as when it was in prototype form, and it looked ugly, but it played fantastic. Bradley got his copy in a week or two ago, and we played it, and I was amazed. It's a 45-minute game that feels like an hour and a half game. Not the bad way, though. It feels like you really did a lot during the game. Boy, I like this one, though. Your buddy Drake came up with one. Crusaders, thy crew be done.
Yeah, Drake is like the king of puns. He has, he comes up with all these crazy crop names for his, post-apocalyptic farming games, and it's just hilarious stuff. So I always go to him if I need some sort of something like that. If we could
put Drake and Steve in a room together, what damage could we do? All right.
It would be a show in itself.
It would be. All right, you ready for one, Johnny? Here we go. Yeah. Hey, interesting trivia, Johnny. Did you know that George Lucas almost cast a camel instead of Harrison Ford for the Star Wars rakish character? What game am I talking about?
A camel. Oh my gosh.
John said he got to demo Crusaders at Dice Tower Con this year. Yeah, I missed you this year, Sean. Sorry about that, man. I didn't get to go this year.
Camels.
All right, chat crew. I talk about the game a lot, so let's see if you guys can pick it up. Interesting trivia. Did you know George Lucas almost cast a camel in place of Harrison Ford for the Star Wars rakish character?
Whatever it is, I bet there's a solo mode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So he's got the back end of this. What's the first end of it?
Almost cast
Camo Solo Cup. Oh, that's not a bad one. It's not it, but that's not a bad one, Sean. I like that. Oh, and you love this game too. I'm pretty sure.
I love this game.
I'm pretty sure you rated it an 8, if I remember right.
There's some good camel games out there. I like quite a few of them. There's Through the Desert's a good one, and Oasis, that old out of print one. I love that one.
I haven't played Oasis. Through the Desert, I've played the new version, Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Oasis is one of my old favorites. Eleanor Moon game.
Steve, what do you think? I think we stumped them.
I think you stumped me. Yeah, I feel stumped.
Chat crew, any ideas? Chat crew, I think
I'm giving this one away.
All right, are we ready? I'll have to give this one up because I think if I can, I'm checking out the chat crew just in case, but I'm not seeing very many answers here. Christian, nothing. Nope, nothing from Christian.
At least if I'm stumped and he's stumped, I'm in good company.
What if I gave you the hint that it's the same designer as Jaipur?
Oh, okay. Okay.
He loves those camel games. In fact, he's got a new one coming out. He's got a new one in the line.
Yeah, so he did the river too. So
Sebastian.
He's a good designer.
Sebastian Pochon, something like that. I can't remember this.
Right, yeah.
All right, I'm going to call it because it looks like. How about this one? Ispahan Solo.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I do love that game. It totally slipped my mind though. That's one of my go-tos. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ispahan Solo. Ispahan reminds me of all the. I think I know why you like Ispahan based on what you told me about Coloma. Ispahan also has some of those actions where if you put depending on where you go, it's going to affect what other people are doing in the different lines. You can move people around, and then you have that what is it called? The little track.
Like a little camel trail, I think.
The camel trail, and it's got that. It's not a bust mechanic, but if too many people jump on it, it's worth more points to the other person, not you. So you got to kind of be careful with that. So.
Yeah, I love the dice drafting in that game. That's where I think it really shines. Is that dice mechanic is just
Oh, it's so
fun.
I love Ispahan. And again, a game that plays roughly in about an hour.
Yeah, I'd show that game to anybody. It's great.
He's a great designer. I mean, Jaipur, one of my top 2 player games of all time.
Oh,
Maybe
absolutely.
top.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, here we go with the next one, Johnny. Finally, we got the news this week. You probably heard. It's the number 1 requested game that everybody wants to update. They don't like the base. They want beautiful art. And this time, when this dice game gets some great cover and board art, it will always be stay classy, medieval France.
Stay classy, medieval France.
Stay classy, medieval France.
Oh man, I'm swimming in this one too.
Hey, thank you, Steve. He says nobody's giving me grief. Okay, good. I just went through your interests and I went through your board games and I said, I'm going to put these things together.
I know. I have to admit, I think my BGG list says I have 1,020 games. Oh, Castles of Ron Burgundy.
Drake's got it. Castles of Ron Burgundy. Stay classy, medieval France.
There it is. Oh, medieval France. Right.
Medieval France. Oh, we had a lot of people checking in. Ron Burgundy Castles and Cooks. Interesting. Yeah. Look, Jeff and Sean were so close. Carla, Verla, you had the right game. You just needed to put it together. All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What if Terra Mystica got reimagined again, but this time by an English rock band of the 70s and 80s? Would gamers still have their eye in the sky for this game? Their eye in the sky.
I do love me some Terra Mystica.
What if Terra Mystica got reimagined again by an English rock band from the 70s and 80s? Would gamers have their eye in the sky for that game?
Somebody can't type fast enough. Oh, there he goes. I'm trying to think. Eye in the sky. Yeah. It's a reference probably to a song I'm not familiar with, unfortunately. I knew a lot of tunes.
No.
Yeah, no. I think the song is a swing.
It's actually a band. The clue is English rock band from the 70s and 80s. And of course, Eye in the Sky. Does that ring a bell at all?
I don't think so. I think it's probably one of those bands that's like on my B list or something.
Jeff, you're so close. You're so close. The key, though, that the crew is missing. What if Terra Mystica got Oh, no, he's got it. Never mind. I saw he got it. Alan Parsons' Gaia Project. That's right. The yes. Alan Parsons Gaia Project. Gaia Project, you played it, right?
Right, yeah. So, yeah, totally. I think my thing with Alan Parsons is I haven't spent a lot of time listening to the group. I just know mostly like the production that he did on like Dark Side of the Moon and stuff like that with Pink Floyd, but didn't really follow it on its own.
This is why Sean and I get along. Sean, I had 3 of their albums back then. I mean, I did like Alan Parsons Project way back when. Oh, man. Wow. I had so many of their albums way back when. All right. So it doesn't surprise me that Sean has seen the Alan Parsons Project. So here we go. You ready for the next one?
Yep.
Before he died, the late great Miles Davis. Did you know this? He worked with Dr. Reiner Knizia to update his classic abstract game, but this time, instead of changing him from camels, it ended up with a Polynesian theme. Chat crew, we talked about this game actually in the last 20 minutes.
Right. Yep. Miles through the desert. I'm trying to think. It'd be something with Miles Davis and through the desert.
Updating the classic game. Through the desert. Wrong door. Does that help?
Wrong door. I'm trying to think of. Man, I love Miles Davis and Knizia, so this is again, I'm just swinging and missing.
The late great you're doing about as well as I would on this show.
That's good.
I think I'm 1 for 1 only because Bill Lassick threw me one a curveball at the end of one night, and I got it, and I've never been asked another one. I don't know if I'd get any of these things. So before he died, the late great Miles Davis worked with Dr. Knizia to update his classic abstract game. It started with camels, but now it's got a Polynesian theme. So that's the clue. What game are we talking about? Because if you get the game, you're going to figure out the Miles Davis reference.
Yeah, so I believe Through the Desert was originally envisioned as a camping game, and then it was Fantasy Flight or one of these companies that turned it into a camel game. I'm wondering what Miles Davis would do to it. He'd probably have two people playing the game at the same time on both sides of the stage, really loud.
True. No, Knizia's game was re-released last year.
Oh, this one. Okay. Classic Abstract. Okay, so that would be maybe Tigris and Euphrates got re-released last year, right?
No, it started with camels, but ended up with a Polynesian theme. And Sean's giving a hint out there for the chat crew. It's that classic Miles album. First time I heard about Miles, it's the very first album I ever listened to.
Kind of blue. So it's
Oh, chat crew, he gave it to you. Come on, chat crew, steal it.
It's kind of blue. Show me.
Think classic Miles album. Dr. Knizia to update this classic that he had, but instead of camels. So Marshall Wells has the game now. Somebody just has to put it together. Come on.
Okay. Kind of Blue Lagoon. There it
is. The kind of Blue Lagoon.
So that game was actually an update of a previous game?
Yeah, so it's an updated version of Through the Desert. It's got a Polynesian theme, and he reworked it. You can play. I don't think Through the Desert. I think that was only a 2-player game, if I remember right.
It was 4-player, but yeah. So interesting about that is I feel like Blue Lagoon isn't listed as a re-implementation, but I'd heard that it was a reworking of something, and I felt like it was like a if you like Through the Desert, you'll like this game too. But I didn't really realize it was a.
I have not played the original. I would need Jeremy. I think Ninja's played the original, and he and I played the new one together at BGG Con. So maybe he could tell us. My understanding, though, is he reworked, kind of changed up a couple of things, but it's essentially the same engine, the same style of game.
Yeah, it is. It has a lot. It's the unique thing about Blue Lagoon is fascinating because you play the first half of the game in one kind of game state where things connect in one way, and then you rinse and repeat, and you play it out the second half based on some remainders of the first half of the game, and that right there to me is a really cool component of that game. And Through the Desert's a little more linear. You're just kind of connecting your camels in these trains and trying to hit in kind of rope off areas and also hit the palm trees, which are oases in the thing. Where I think Blue Lagoon, if you recall, has like a scoring pad that has all these different criteria. If you're doing this, if you're doing that in this place, majorities, and it's on a lot of levels complicated.
So this is like a mini Feld.
Yeah.
It's like a mini Feld.
Yeah.
All right, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Got a few more left. I'm not a big fan of biker shows on TV. I'm not. But they tell me this version of this board game has a cool tile laying mechanic centered on a biker game near a medieval city in France.
Biker.
What biker TV show has a game? That's probably your best clue right there.
Yikes. I don't think I've watched TV seriously most of my life. I kind of grew up out in the sticks, so I'm
I've never seen the show myself, but I know the chat knows the show.
Yeah, somebody's gonna know it. Yeah, TV is just out of my range.
All right, well, maybe medieval city in France. I don't know if that's a good enough clue for you to figure out this very well-known.
Carcassonne, comes to mind. That would probably be the.
Hey, there's
Orleans.
Chuck,
maybe.
Chuck is the moderator, the owner of the Gateway and Filler Games group. Yeah, thank you for checking in, Chuck. Chuck, we're talking about a biker show on TV board game, but they've redone it. It's got a cool tile laying mechanic centered on a biker game near a medieval city in France.
Something Carcassonne. It's in there.
So Johnny's got the game. He knows it's Carcassonne. But what
I
game?
Just don't know
No idea what that reference is, huh, Johnny? No.
Nope. TV is going to be a rough one for me.
We're going to have to let I'm assuming. Oh, they're so close to it. So we got Carcassonnes of Anarchy. That's exactly right. Christian Strain's got it.
There it is.
It's the Sons of Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that ring a bell at all?
I've heard the name. Yeah, I didn't really even know it was a biker show.
Yeah, I've never seen it myself. All right. Bill Walker Harding, one of my favorite designers.
Oh,
you
yeah.
like him too?
Oh, totally.
He may be from Australia, but he must have visited the Big Easy because we can see the inspiration when he made this tile laying game that's made famous by the Animals' classic 1960s song.
Okay. All right.
A lot to unpack there, Johnny.
No, I know. I'm going to try to. I know where we're going with this one at least.
Ooh.
Um, now, this wasn't a collaboration with Eric Lang, right?
It's not. It's not that one. Oh, what? But wait. You're on the right track. I get your reference. Yeah. Good one. Good one. You are on the right track. So talk it out. What? Oh, you're trying not to give it to the chat.
I'm trying to give this one away. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of his catalog. House of the Rising Gingerbread Man. I'm not sure.
He's so close. He's so close. Stevie, did he let it out? Keep working on it. Which way? You're all there. Oh, Drake's gonna steal it from you. He's supposed to be your friend, Johnny.
Gingerbread House of the Rising Sun. Yep.
Yeah, you were so close. Steve, I'm gonna leave it up to you as to who you want to judge on that one because he was right there.
Of is Ud, so I think it goes to me.
Gingerbread House of the Rising Sun.
Nice, good one, Drake.
Oh, I didn't catch your clue. You were right. Your hint was exactly right. Eric Lang. Good job. That was nice. All right, here we go. Got 2 left. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we got 2 left. All right, here we go. It's the hottest game on the internet. You cannot escape social media posts about this game. In fact, Verla posts about this game almost every day. She loves this game. Many say it's the most excellent game of the year, but I'm having trouble reading the cards because my Iberian language skills, they're very rusty. I'll try. Me gustan los pájaros. Me gustan los pájaros. That's the best I got.
Okay. I'm trying to the game.
Many say, and Verla, I think you'd agree, it's the most excellent game of the year. Say there's
excellent. Right.
I bet Verla knows the game I'm talking about. Come on, Verla, spit it out. What you got? Hottest game on the year. But I'm having trouble with it, Verla. I can't read the cards because my Iberian language skills are so rusty. Verla was close, but I'm gonna have to give it to Christian. It's Wings Spanish.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you know that game, Wings Spanish?
That yet? I haven't gotten to play it yet. I read a little a rundown by the author of the game and about kind of the history of them as being birders and stuff like that. So it's definitely on my radar.
Man, Johnny, so many people were so close. Bill was right there.
Yeah.
Was right there. Jeff was right there.
Hey, Jeff.
So, yes, I've got to play Wingspan. The first time I played it, I played with 4 guys. One had played it 9 times, and he was bored with it.
Wow.
And he was just kind of going through the motions. The other 2 guys, it was a little bit too light for them. I played with another group a couple of nights later, people that like that style of game. I love engine builders. I really do like them. Yeah. And if you like engine builders and it's got gorgeous artwork. And the other thing that I like about it is from everybody I've talked to, every time we play Wingspan, the winner has used a different strategy. There's just so many different ways to combo cards.
That's awesome.
Splendor has kind of reduced itself to about 1 or 2, maybe. There's one optimal way people say, and then a couple of other ways you can win. This one, there's just so many different ways. You got to look what's on the board. You got to look at what cards have come out and the cards that you got in your hand and try to devise a plan from there. So
nice.
I like it. All right, here's the last one.
Sure. Last one.
All right, here we go. Oh, I hope I have the right name. May have to double check this one. Hopefully I got the right name. My favorite Alexander Julian movie. I think that's the director. My favorite Alexander Julian movie based board game. So it's a board game based on an Alexander movie. It's all about the threat of combat between wine snobs. And that's the key, the threat of combat, not combat. And it's got this famous line. I can still see Paul Giamatti saying it. He says,
I know the line. We say that?
No, if anyone asks to play Rusviet Industrial, I'm leaving. I will not play Rusviet Industrial.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the reference?
I do. So if it's the title of that movie, then the pairing is with pairing. We're talking about wine pairings now.
Nice, but oh, it's Alexander Payne. Thank you, Steve. My bad. God dang it. Alexander Payne, not Alexander Julian. Alexander Julian was the clothes designer, I think.
Okay, yeah, I know what movie you're talking about though. So I'm not. I'm also like trying to save it until I can think of the other half of this. Uh, what's the other half of the clue besides the movie?
All right, here we go. It's all about the threat of combat between wine snobs. And it's got that famous line that Paul Giamatti had. If anyone asks to play Rust Fiat Industrial, I am leaving. I will not play Rust Fiat Industrial.
I thought it was a line about the Merlot, and I was like, I don't think we can say that on this show.
That is the line about the Merlot. I just kind of tweaked it,
Yeah.
By the way, have you read the book?
No, I haven't actually.
It's not Merlot in the book.
Oh, really?
The line in the book is Pinot.
Pinot. Yeah.
Somebody asked me to drink Pinot Noir. I'm leaving. I will not drink Pinot Noir.
Nice.
Oh, what was his name in the movie? Miles.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, it was a funny movie. Yeah, we're right in the center of wine country here. So that was filmed in just a few miles south of this area.
You're in NoCal?
Yeah, I'm in northern part, and I was kind of in the central southern part where that was filmed. There's famous wine cellars. There we go, sideways.
John Jones,
awesome.
Not bad. Chat crew,
one.
take that. I can come up with some of these clues.
You did good. Those two Stegmaier games.
Oh, I did. That's true. I did end up with Stegmaier games. Now, Wingspan was not on your list, but I think just about 8 out of the other 10 were all stuff that I got right from your BGG.
I have played Scythe once. Yeah, I don't know if it's on my list or not, but yeah, I did play it once because you got to pay your dues and like check out everything that's hot. Just make sure stay up with everything. So that was one of those.
The one that Steve and I have been talking with Verla about last couple of days is that Gingerbread House. You have got a chance to play. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I've played a couple times. I played with the basic rules and then the advanced rules with the little cards out there, and I really enjoyed it for one of those little puzzle games. I think it's just a ton of fun, and the theme is really cute, and they really reached in to find all the different little fairy tales and bring them into that. And so it's definitely a fun little one.
Christian Strain says, Steven, are we getting back to you next week? Yes, we're going to let our regularly scheduled programming, Steven, do some of the clues. So, yeah, I am interested in Gingerbread House. I was so sad. I was at BGG Con, and I was at Cosmos, and right behind us was the booth that was demoing. They weren't selling it, but they were demoing a Gingerbread House. And every time I passed by, because of that name, the booth was full, and I never got a chance to sit down and try Gingerbread House. So, God, I love every game so far that I've played by him, so I really want to try it.
Yeah, I've gone pretty deep into grabbing anything. He's got a couple oddballs, like he had that little superhero card game that was, I think, his first published game. It was like a Kickstarter, and from where he's come as a designer, I wouldn't even have thought, that game was in his same kind of repertoire. And then I think he did another one called like Yummy World, which was based on some sort of a license, and it still had his kind of signature mechanics to it, but it felt like it's possible that, working in the constraints of the license, he didn't really have as much freedom to be as creative as he usually is with this stuff.
He is prolific, though. Pack of Heroes, is that the game you're talking about?
What is it? A Pack of Heroes. Yeah, that was I think his first one. And then, he had his archaeology game, and then he got re-released.
That's the game I'm trying to get, if I could ever get it, because I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a fun one. Yeah, it's a good one. It's got his really nice little sweet number sets and scorings and simple mechanics, the replayability, because, it's got little modular components that you pop in and out on it. So it's really good.
All right, board gamers, that is it for another episode of Gumbo Live. I want to thank Jonny Pac for playing the game of Jambalaya. I think we had like a three-way tie, so don't feel bad. I mean, everybody only had one or two, so you did just fine, Johnny. Hey, Johnny, how can people, if they want to know more about you or more about the game Coloma coming out, how can they reach you?
Okay, so I have a little website for my design studio. So it's jonnypac.com. So it's JONNYPAC. My actual name is Jonathan, so there's no H in there. So it's jonnypac.com, and I've got that. And if you want to get hold of me, it's the same thing at Gmail. So jonnypac@gmail. You can email me there. I'm on Facebook, so I use that for professional purposes too. So I'm not just posting pictures of my food. It's mostly pictures of the games I'm working on and stuff like that. So I'm always happy to contribute there. And so pretty easy to get hold of. And then as far as the games coming out, they're on BGG already, so that you can find Coloma's there listed, as well as Sierra West, and some stuff I'm working on that's more in the future isn't listed yet, but more things will pop up as you find that page. And then Board and Dice is very active on social media and all that, so you can find out a lot about Sierra West there. And Final Frontier has their webpage and their mailing list, and you can definitely find out about Coloma there. And both those games are going to have, a lot of news will be popping up in the next, months to quarters. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming up there. There
Steve's,
it is. Yep.
Yeah, Steve's posted it for all for the chat crew. You can get to JonnyPac.com. And just as one last reminder, Coloma is coming out on February 20th from Final Frontier Games with Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, that's the launch day. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting. So.
And then we'll be looking for Sierra West from Board and Dice. Man, Board and Dice, those guys are really on it. They put out some pretty good games, man.
Yeah, they're like, and then teaming up with NSKN, like there's some brilliant cats over there at that team, and just like they've kind of got this super group going right now. And some of the titles, I know people are kind of going, is that an NSKN game? Is that a Board and Dice game? Because stuff was in the channel, that's all kind of coming to the forefront now. And but there is a lot of crossover on, like even with Sierra West, they have the NSKN team working on that as well. And it's just one big old, group of really sharp guys. And I feel like they're pioneering, they kind of look at, not what's hot right now, but what might be hot tomorrow. And it's challenging because we're always trying to second guess, where things are going, and try to land Sierra West in this kind of like 1 foot in innovation, 1 foot in tradition type of way. So it's pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure to like our Facebook page, facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo. It helps us to get the word out about all of our upcoming guests and shows, including next week, Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games. We'll be talking Big Easy busking with her.
Cool,
I am
cool.
BJ. I'm BJ from Board Game Gumbo. And until next time, Johnny, laissez le bon temps rouler.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on the show.